So good evening, one and all. Welcome to this gathering of panel discussion. So VNR VJIT has taken up. Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am. You are audible to me. I'm sure I'm ready here.
Perfect. Welcome to this panel discussion on engineering education, match your passion, charting the right career choice. So today we have a civil engineering department in this panel discussion. So this is conducted by VNR Vijnana Jyoti Institute of Engineering and Technology, association with Indian Concrete Institute and Indian Green Building Council. So I welcome all the panel members. So let me just introduce you briefly about our panel members. So Professor Malika is the head of the Department of Civil Engineering. She has been heading this department since 2016. She has 6 years of industry experience, 19 years of teaching experience, and 5 years of research experience. Madam has secured 2 gold medals during her graduation. She has associated with VNR VJIT in the year 2004. Her area of research is structural engineering, mainly focusing on structural health monitoring. She has handled various consultancy works like design of foundation for conveyor belt system at Welgonda Tunnel, design of industrial steel structure, Greyhounds AP Police, design of low-cost housing for AP Housing Corporation, and many more. She has guided 24 BTech projects and 14 MTech dissertation works. Currently, she is guiding 3 PhD scholars. I welcome you, ma'am.
Good evening, Kranti. Good evening, Kranti. Thank you for the nice introduction. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Let me just get back to the next panel member. Our senior faculty member, Professor BDV Chandramohan Rao sir, has 23 years of teaching experience and 4 years of research experience. He has been associated with VNR VJIT since the year 2005. His area of research is structural engineering, mainly focusing on structural dynamics, earthquake engineering, finite element analysis, and structural optimization. He is also coordinating academic audit cell and faculty in charge for material testing laboratory. He has actively involved in various consultancy works. He has received Sir Arthur Cotton Memorial Gold Medal Award for the best paper published in Civil Engineering Division from the Institute of Engineers India. He has guided 22 BTech projects and 19 MTech dissertation works. Currently, he is guiding 2 PhD scholars. I welcome you, sir, to this panel discussion. Chandramohan, sir.
Hello.
Yeah,
good afternoon.
You, sir,
good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Next, coming to our next panel member, our industry expert, Shivarami Reddy Garu, Managing Director, Infra Private Limited. He has worked in various well-established companies nationally and internationally. He has 14 plus years of rich engineering expertise in detailed design and review engineering of infra projects, railway and highway projects, high-rise and commercial buildings, multimodal logistic hub, web warehouses, marine structure, oil and gas, thermal power plants, and cement plants for both green and brown fields. Besides the above experience, he also has significant exposure on construction and project management services. He has 4 years of international work experience and worked for Oman, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Singapore. He is entitled as a chartered engineer and a member of Institution of Engineers. I welcome you, sir, onto this panel discussion.
Yeah, very good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much for introducing me.
We have one more alumnus who will be joining us very shortly. So meanwhile, we'll just continue with the panel discussion. Just tell to all the parents and the attendees over here that will be going through this panel discussion. So parents who have joined us, whatever questions you have to the panel members, you can ask them in the last 10 minutes. So probably we'll first finish off with the discussion, and then later at a later point, any questions or any doubts you have relevant to the civil engineering department, they can be asked at there.
Kranti madam, our alumni Rohit has joined.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Welcome, Rohit. So Rohit is currently working as a data scientist at Disney. He has completed the civil engineering from VNR in the year 2016. He has secured 99.84 percentile in in CAT 2016, and he has done his master's in management from IISc Bangalore. We are very proud of you, and thank you for joining in this panel. Yeah.
Next to placement coordinator, madam. Placement coordinator.
Mr. Nagateja is a placement coordinator for civil engineering department. He has 7 years of teaching experience. He has completed his MTech transportation engineering from IIT Roorkee in the year 2013. He has been associated with VNR VJIT from the year 2014, and he has been the coordinator for placements in civil engineering department from the year 2015. Welcome you, Mr. Nagateja. So can we start off? Mr. Nagateja is here. Nagateja? Mr. Nagateja?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah. Welcome. Yeah, thank you. So let me first start off telling you about what is this panel discussion basically about. So this is just to bring in awareness to the students and the parent community about the branch of civil engineering. So I just discuss about this branch and its significance related with all the panel members. So first, let me start off with the head of the department, Ms. Malika, Professor Malika ma'am. Ma'am, now I see that there are many students and parents who just want to know what is this civil engineering branch about and what is its significance basically. So can you just tell us in brief about this particular aspect?
Yes, Kranti. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the parents and other invitees. So basically, all of us know civil engineering is the oldest branch, and it is also
Malika, you're muted.
So thank you, Kranti. As all of us know, civil engineering is one of the most important as well as oldest branch in all the branches.
Video, ma'am, can you just switch on?
Yeah, video is on.
Okay, thank you.
Among all the branches of engineering, it is the oldest and important branch, and it is also the evergreen branch, which is not affected by many factors like recession and all other parameters. Especially like country like us, we have lot of scope for civil engineering, like in the past, of course, also in the present and in future, because there is a continuous growth of population. Lot of pressure is there for the development of infrastructure across the globe and in our own country. So with a lot of challenges around us. So students might be having, our parents also might be having restricted knowledge about what kind of scope is there for civil engineering, in what fields civil engineering can be applied, if their body is going to take civil engineering and all. So it is all around us, as many of you know. So lots of housing schemes are around us, transport projects are there, and also underlying infrastructure projects in all the modern cities in the form of smart cities. And there is a range of challenge to explore civil engineering as a career. So civil engineering needs creativity with strong technical skills, and we need to do planning, designing, construction, and also operations and maintenance, which are essential to lead the modern life. Today's life, ranging from bridges, highway systems, and quality of life around us, like water treatment plants, energy efficient buildings, all these things. This is what is civil engineering in brief. So if you become a civil engineer, you will become problem solvers for the society, meeting the challenges of pollution, traffic congestions, drinking water, energy, urban development, whatnot. everywhere civil engineering. So that is what is civil engineering. That is the scope of civil engineering nowadays.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Ma'am, what about the job opportunities in civil department? I mean, what kind of jobs do they expect actually? Can we expect for the student?
So there are many career options for civil engineering. Like we have two broad categorization we can do, like core jobs or IT jobs, IT service jobs, like software jobs. We can broadly classify into. Again, coming to our career options in core jobs, there are lots of opportunities around us, like field jobs, research jobs, and even going for management jobs and so on. Coming to field jobs, again, opportunities are there in the private sector, public sector, and also in the government sectors, state government and central government sectors like UPSC and TSPSC. So many opportunities are there. So in private sector, we have building designs, project execution, infrastructure development in highway projects, airports, water resources like hydraulic structures, construction planning, management, and the list is really, really endless. Majority of us might be having some exposure to civil engineering means only construction field. So it is not so. There are many opportunities in the private sector. You can even start your own consultancies also. Many of our alumni are entrepreneurs. So apart from that, we have lots of private sector jobs, public sector jobs also, like NTPC, SAIL, BHEL, NHAI, oil sector like ONGC, IOCL, and so many are there. So many are there opportunities in the government sector also. Coming to our state government sector, irrigation department, R&B, HMWS, BSP, and so many are there. Central government, IES you can take, railway recruitment board is there, CPWD is there. So as and when the government releases the advertisement, majority of the times our students are cracking the government exams. We have a record for that one. Our placement coordinator will be briefing about all those things in depth. So if anybody wants to go for higher education or into research, so they can take up GATE coaching or MBA or whatever it is. So today our alumni is also with some management experience. He'll brief more about that one.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, just one more doubt. I mean, related to the courses, nowadays we see that accreditation process, like NBA accreditation, is being given for the course in many of the engineering colleges.
Yes.
Now, many of the parents are not aware of, I mean, what is this accreditation? I mean, how it is relevant to the students, I mean, those who are joining this particular course. So can you just briefly tell us, I mean, what is this accreditation is all about?
Yes, there are, it's not always like blowing our own trumpet. There are certain bodies, regulatory bodies, so which are going to judge us, our quality, with respect to so many parameters. So one such kind of accreditation body is NBA. We have NAAC for the institution, National Board of Accreditation, NBA for the departments and programs. And then NIRF ranking is also there, National Institute Framework for Ranking Systems. All these are based on certain parameters like infrastructure requirements, teaching and learning process, graduate outcomes. So what is the faculty strength? So there are many parameters based on which the accreditation bodies are going to inspect us. According to the standards only, they'll accredit that particular program, like BTech Civil Engineering program or MTech Structural Engineering program, something like that. So for certain period, so it is not once for all. So very frequently, like for every 3 years, if you are getting accredited for 3 years, after 3 years again, they are going to come and just check whether the standards are meeting and all. It is not simply getting the ranking or accreditation for the department. There will be a lot of responsibility on the department to maintain its standards or to grow further. So in that matter, Civil Engineering Department is very proud that we are the only department across the two Telugu-speaking states which has got 5 years of accreditation in the outcome-based education of NBA. So that gives the Civil Engineering Department standards with respect to all the parameters, academics, research, extension activities, consultancy, and student outcomes also.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Just one more question related to, since you have brought up NIRF. So just I wanted to ask, what is the significance of this NIRF ranking? Because we see a lot of rankings right now, especially during the admissions time, we see that there are a lot many rankings coming into picture. As far as I know, NIRF is this institutional framework, ranking framework, which is done at the national level. So how does it play a role in the colleges being ranked actually across all the what do you call across the country?
Yes, it plays important role in IRF ranking. It actually promotes competition among the universities and institutions, which drives them to strive for excellence. That is the purpose or significance of NIRF ranking. So the moment a parent needs to seek admission of their ward into a particular institution, they definitely need to search where the institute is standing in the NIRF ranking. So it gives the student a better understanding or parent a better understanding about what is the quality of the institution. So it links all the performance based institutions under institutions of eminence. So government will be listing out 5 to 10 institutes of eminence every year. So private institutions also are going to stand in with that one. So generally this NIRF ranking is given for a particular stream, that is for engineering, the ranking system, and also overall ranking will be given to the institutes. It's a methodology. It also depends on many parameters like teaching learning process, resources, research professional practices, and graduation outcomes. If the student is going out, so with what stipulated time and with what CGPA is he's going out, that also matters to the institute. So that maintains the quality. And also there are many benefits for the students if you are studying with the NBA accredited department and NIRF ranked institution and also NAC ranked institution. Definitely you will be having lot of benefits when once you are getting graduated from that particular institute. So in terms of having some kind of placement opportunities and also having higher education opportunities within the country and also abroad. So that is the benefit of accreditation, and also you can see the standard of the institution and the department.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. So you have given us a whole lot picture about everything. Let me just go back to, Chandra Mohan sir, a senior faculty member, whom I would like to ask a few questions. Yeah.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I just want to ask you, what are the specialized areas basically which come under this civil engineering?
So basically, a civil engineer, the broad specializations under the civil engineering branch are the structural engineering, the geotechnical engineering, water resources engineering, transportation engineering, and environmental engineering. I will just give you a brief 1-2 minutes of overview about each specialization under civil engineering. So civil engineering has to plan, has to analyze, has to design a simple building, or you can say the multi-story building, or you can say the bridge, or you can say the towers. So all kinds of structure for designing or for planning or for analyzing all these things. So a structural engineers are required. So to equip the students for designing these buildings, bridges, etc., we have many subjects related to this in our curriculum, like you have the strength of materials, so you have the design of RC structures. So these structures you can classify again into two broad heads, like reinforced concrete structures and steel structures. So how to design the reinforced concrete structures, how to plan or how to analyze, or you can say how to design the basic building components, how to design the slabs, how to design the beams, how to design the columns, how to design the foundations, similarly how to design a steel structure, uh, uh, and followed by the when you construct a building, so not only for the building has to resist these dead loads and the live loads, you may expect the wind loads, earthquake loads. So for all kinds of loads, your structure has to withstand. So we will prepare the students how to analyze such structures, how to design such structures, right from a simple one-roomed building to a multi-story buildings, bridges, highways, railways, etc. That's the first broad specialization of a civil engineering. Now, so when you are constructing these buildings or any, for that matter, any structure, if the students are constructing, they have to rest on the soil. So how to study the properties of the soil? So these properties of the soil varies from place to place. So you may have the safe bearing capacity of a soil. In Hyderabad, you may have one value. In Delhi, you may have another value. In Bombay, you may have another value. Even within the Hyderabad also. So these properties of the soil will vary from place to place. You may have one value in Bachupalli, you may have another value in Secunderabad. So how to analyze, how to find out the bearing capacity of the soil, what kind of properties the students are assessing, and what kind of foundations on which all these buildings has to rest. All this will be studying. So to equip the students for designing the foundations or for studying these properties, so we have the courses in the curriculum like soil mechanics, foundation engineering, etc. The third broad specialization under civil engineering is the water resources engineering. Okay, so that is which deals with the properties of the fluids, the study of hydrologic cycles. So how to design water related structures like dams, how to design the canals. All these will be dealt in this branch of civil engineering through the subjects fluid mechanics, hydrology, water resources engineering. So through all these subjects, we will prepare the students how to design water related structures like dams, canals, etc. The fourth specialization under civil engineering is the transportation engineering. So this transportation engineering, again, you can classify into three subheads like the design of highways, the design of railways, airports, etc. So how to plan, how to do the geometric design of a highway. So if you want to analyze traffic at a particular junction, how to do the survey, how to control the traffic, what are the various parameters for the design of highways. Similarly, when you come for the railways, how to design the railway tracks, how to maintain the tracks, how to maintain the traffic safety, and similarly to the airports, how to design the airports, and including even the docks and harbors. All these will be training the students through the subjects highway engineering and the transportation engineering. Next, next specialization, broad specialization under civil engineering is the environmental engineering. So there'll be students will be studying the environmental science in the first year. Then again, this environmental engineering, you can subdivide into two heads like water supply engineering and sanitary engineering. So we will be training the students how to assess the quality parameters of the water, how to design the water distribution system, how to design the sewerage system, how to find out the various properties of water, quality parameters, whether they are complying with the standards or not, how to control the air pollution, how the solid waste management. So all these things we will be training the students through the subjects water supply engineering, sanitary engineering, the environmental studies, etc. So this is all about all 5 broad specializations under civil engineering.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So it was, very interesting to know that we civil engineers had lot of role in the society, whatever we see around us. Sir, I just want to ask one more question. What is the skill set that you think that your students should have when they pass out of this branch? I mean, what are the skill set that is expected out of students coming out of this branch?
So the civil engineers, after the completion of 4 years degree, is expected to design small buildings. To the design multi-story buildings, he has to design a dam, he has to design a traffic junction, he has to design maintain the tracks, he has to assess the quality parameters of various building materials like cement, steel, water, etc. So we will train the students in such a fashion that all the students will be equipped with at least one drafting package. So we have the engineering drawing in first year and we have the building drawing in second year. So students will be trained how to plan the various components of the building, how to draw the plan, section and elevations of the building. So one drafting package will be training. And in the final year, so students has to analyze the so ultimately students has to design the building, all kinds, in fact for that matter all kinds of civil engineering structures. So before designing they want to analyze. So for analyzing the various kinds of civil engineering structures and for designing the various kinds of the civil engineering systems, so we are training the students in analysis and design softwares like StatPro, ETABS, etc. Similarly, they'll be trying. So we will be training the students by giving a list of certificate courses. So it is mandatory from the curriculum that all the students should complete at least 2 certificate courses. So from the civil engineering department, we are offering the certificate courses like ETABS, which is for the analysis and design of buildings, Primavera, which is a planning package, how to model the building information modeling. So the basic components, first unit, the students has to survey it. So how to design, how to survey the given plot using the modern instruments like total station. So we'll be giving a list of certificate courses. So it is the choice of the students that any 2 certificate courses can be picked up by the students, but 2 are compulsory. And we are not restricting the students to take up these certificate courses only in the civil engineering domain. They can opt the certificate courses in the emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Python. So they can do the certificate courses in the non-civil engineering branches also. So this is the skill set that the industry is expecting after the completion of a BTech civil engineering.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So let me just get to Teja, Nagateja, our placement coordinator, to just let us know about what kind of jobs lie ahead for this branch. Nagateja, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, what kind of jobs can civil engineers expect actually? What are the jobs that lie ahead for this students from this branch?
As our HOD Malika ma'am said that we have very wide range of opportunities in the related to the job market. Like we may have government jobs, or we may have we can even enter into the private segment as well as the software side also. The students can avail the opportunities. So coming to the government opportunities, government job opportunities, it is the first branch, it is the most widely used, widely recommended job for the government engineers. Most of the government jobs will be related to the civil engineering. Like ma'am said, we have IOCL, NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, BPCL, and many other government public sector companies, PSUs. So the package will be around 10 lakhs. The starting package will be around 10 lakhs in those government-related PSU companies. Whereas we have private companies also coming to our college, like BSCPL, Ramki, Ashoka Builders, ACC, NCC, My Home Constructions, Design Tribes, Moltech. All these companies are visiting every year for our college to recruit our students. And our students are also actively participating in the software-related jobs. Like many of our students are placed in TCS, Deloitte, Capgemini, Hexagon, UX Reactors, Red Carpet, and n number of jobs are n number of students have joined in n number of the software companies.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, what about the demand-supply ratio? I mean, are there enough number of jobs for the students who are passing out from this civil branch?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. Yes. So as we know that the Indian government is investing many of the huge amount of money related to the infrastructure projects and civil engineering like smart cities and all those things. So we have a very wide range of job market. So definitely, yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, I'll just get back to you once I go to the next expert of ours, our industry expert. So Shivaram Reddy Garu.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Good
With
evening,
the amount of experience that you have, let me just put you. So though all these academicians have told us, what is related to the civil engineering, I just want to hear, what are the industries basically related to civil engineering, and how do you see the career for a civil engineer basically?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you first for your giving me this opportunity to participate in these sessions. And I'm most thankful to Mallika ma'am also. Mallika ma'am and Chandramohan sir has already well explained about this civil engineering and opportunities existing in the market. So my perspective is, yes, I completed my graduation in 2006 from VNR VGIT college only. So when I had completed my graduation, to be frank, I was not having any kind of awareness, especially on civil engineering, right? So initially I started working in the field for a very short period, around 6 months, and then 6 to 8 months. Again, I kept on changing my jobs. So next I went to this airport construction and everything. So what I'm trying to say is, there are opportunities in civil engineering. I cannot just bifurcate based on the specializations available in civil engineering. You can take any kind of a subject from civil engineering. Either it can be a surveying, it can be land surveying, or it can be a quantity surveying, or it can be a structural engineering. Anything. There are plenty of opportunities available in it. So when I can just take my experience as an example. So initially I started working as a site engineer for almost 2 years. And later on, I just jumped into this structural designs. I was not finding any difficult for changing it, but I realized that everything is interlinking. It doesn't mean that these are all separated. Like structural engineering is completely different. Structural design is completely different from this site execution activities. There are always some kind of a lacking information, in the sense, not always it is advisable to consider the provisions given in the code books, or maybe literature that we are going through would be sufficient for designing the structures. But there are a number of practical limitations that also need to be, in fact, included in the text, in the literatures, or that have to be, in fact, observed by a student, he himself or herself, when they are visiting the sites. So these kind of the practical limitations also have to be included. So as much as we are parallelly focusing on this theoretical and then practical experiences or knowledge that we are gaining from this academics, it is also highly recommended to gain the practical experience by visiting the sites, or maybe by getting kind of internship trainings. So for the first 3 years, there would be a kind of some kind of ambiguity in the student in the career. But once you work for 3 years of time, you will definitely get a very clear idea. And the second thing is, whatever the amount of the effort or whatever we are working on civil engineering for the first 3 years, everything will be useful. And it is completely depending on the person who is utilizing this kind of a knowledge by their own experience. So for the first 2 years, I worked as a site engineer, and then I jumped into the structural designs. So when I was jumping into the structural designs, I almost had 2 years of gap. But I was okay with it. So I jumped into the structural designs. I started working as a structural engineer for designing these thermal plants very quickly. So next I worked like 3 years on the structural and thermal plants. I had a kind of a dream, in the sense, all of my classmates, almost more than 60 to 80%, they had attempted to go for abroad studies. So I had a kind of a dream to go to abroad also. That was also possible. It doesn't mean that we can go to abroad and settle through the education, in the sense, just for this education. So after 2 years of site experience, I had worked as a structural engineer for 3 years. So it is very easy to get an abroad job once you can gain 3.5 years to 5 years of experience, field experience, and then design experience. That is for sure. So it is my practical experience. So once I could gain almost 3.5 to 5 years of experience, so there would be n number of opportunities. Even if you don't put much effort to get into this abroad jobs, you will definitely get them. So for the first 3.5 to 5 years, it depends on how much effort we get, how much knowledge we gain, and the specialization. You'll get opportunities in the abroad. First thing, from 5 to 8 years, even if you don't make any effort, even students do not make any kind of effort, also they will definitely get the opportunities.
Okay.
So I worked in abroad almost for the first time when I went to Gulf countries. I worked for only 1 year. So I was, in fact, I'm very happy because I worked on all the specialization in civil engineering. Firstly, site engineer, and then structural engineer for thermal power plants, and then went to abroad, worked again as a structural engineer, but oil and gas projects. See, these when you compare with the previous experience, it is completely different. But still, I was able to do it, and I was also happy with this. The only thing is, it is how we have to apply the concept that we have learned from our education. So it is not really difficult to changing this specialization.
Okay.
So I worked for 5 years, and then again I went back to India. I worked again on cement plants, and then again I worked for high-rise and mid-rise buildings. I worked on RCC structures and steel structures, mid-rise, low-rise. So I worked again in Indonesia. It would be very, we can say, especially in civil engineering, we'll have a kind of a live sessions in the sense every moment. It is not like that we are learning kind of a theory. So when we could design, trust me, in fact, I took one month of time to design one ground floor building, 1 month time in the beginning. But now we can design this kind of 10 floors buildings in 2 hours. So that is possible. So everything is possible. So what I'm saying is, when we could design a structure, it is a kind of giving a birth to a structure. So we have designed it, structure is being executed, finally that is built. So the moment when you look at a structure which is designed by you, will have a kind of a great feeling. Yes, we designed it. Yes. And we can also very proudly say that, yes, I had got involved designing the structures in Indonesia, and then Qatar, and then Saudi Arabia, metro stations, and then this one, highway bridges, railway bridges, North India, South India, everywhere.
Yes.
So it is a great opportunity, and this is a kind of a great facility for a civil engineering student can have it and can experience this kind of a, you can say it's a great feeling. So we can design all the structures. We also can deal with the different types of structure which are existing or interlinking with the water, offshore structures, where we do not use any kind of, in the sense, when we have a depth of water almost like 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, how can we keep the foundation? So we will use different types of the concepts using this tides and using this kind of floating structures. So civil engineering will have you can deal with this water structures, ports, or harbors, railway engineerings, right? Okay. So there are a number of opportunities, undoubtedly. And my career experience, yes, after I had gained experience in this all construction and then design, estimation, costing, and everything, yes, finally I could start my own consultancy not 1.5 years back. In fact, I started my first consultancy in 2010 only. Through my consultancy only, I went to Indonesia. I worked for different countries. We dealt with the different people. We dealt with the different projects. We studied with the different code books. We could understand. It doesn't mean that we could understand everything when we are studying it. So we'll just grasp the slight content. But the moment when you start applying and implementing these concepts, then we'll understand the real civil engineering.
Yes, sir.
And there are a number of, it doesn't mean that we always have to focus only on this private job and so on, so on. Even if we can just know, even a student who is having a civil engineering background can know only this lab test. They can put up their own entrepreneurship, they can start their own laboratory. They can do anything with the civil engineering, any subject or any material.
Yes.
So that's why everywhere and every occasion we have an opportunity in civil engineering. So that is my personal experience, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you for letting us know that what kind of satisfaction it gives for a core engineer to working in the relevant field.
Yes, ma'am.
To hear from you, sir. Let me just get to Rohit actually. Rohit, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Rohit. So since you are our alumnus coming out from VNR itself, let me just ask you the first question, which probably the students also would be interested to know. Why did you choose civil engineering when you have joined this institute?
Actually, I was born and brought up in a family that is full of civil engineers, and which is into construction. So I was biased towards it. But beyond my bias, there is another very important reason why I picked civil engineering. That is because this is a field that everyone can relate to. When you see a building, you can appreciate its beauty. You can appreciate the way people have molded that. When you see a dam, you can just appreciate its magnificence. So this is one field that everyone can look at, everyone can relate to, and your work is very much appreciated here. And my suggestion to anyone who is thinking about career opportunities is that they should be open to multiple things. They should always make sure that their paths are always open. If I pick up something that is not a core branch like civil engineering, I thought my options will be very restricted. I might be learning a few courses in computer science, and then I'll have to stick to a job in computer science. I won't be able to do anything beyond computer science, right? Being a civil engineer, now I can learn a lot of civil engineering stuff. I can start my business. I can find a job in civil engineering or anything. Beyond that, I can also try and get a job in computer science. So this is one thing that I enjoyed. That is one very big consideration for myself.
Okay, very nice to hear from you, Rohit. Let me just ask you, I mean, currently whatever you're doing, and what is the relevance to your branch with respect to what you're doing right now? Can you just tell us briefly?
Yeah, sure. When BDV sir was actually speaking, he mentioned that we are offering certificate courses for students in VNR, in AI and ML. I'm very happy to hear that. But I think even before the certificate courses, when I was doing my civil engineering in 2016, we didn't have these courses in AI and ML. In fact, the branches of AI and ML were also relatively nascent. But even then, there is something in civil engineering that helped me become a data scientist. So as a civil engineer, you're always trained to focus on calculus. A lot of calculus is involved in being a civil engineer. You use calculus for your structural mechanics and all those subjects. So that is very important. Calculus forms the backbone for data science. Any data scientist should be really good at calculus. Being a civil engineer, I think I had the advantage of being better than my classmates and colleagues in calculus. That is one good thing. And the second thing is, if we look at a subject like, surveying, where we talk about contours. Contours is a very important concept in civil engineering. Again, these contours form the backbone for something called gradient descent. And the gradient descent is a concept that is the key thing. Like,
yes, Rohit.
Because I know the concept of contours, I was easily able to visualize how gradient descent works. This is one advantage I had. I was able to explain to my whole class on how things work visually. I think civil engineering is a field that will enable you to visualize things better, and that helps always. Whichever field you pick up, it helps always.
Oh, very nice to hear that, Rohit. Actually, connecting those things like contour to gradient. I mean, it's a very well done job, I should say, connecting the dots. And I think I'm very happy to hear that these kind of things do happen practically also. Thank you. Let me just get back to Mallika ma'am again. Ma'am, coming to our college, that is VNR VJIT, which many of the students are aspiring to join in our college, especially in the civil department. So probably they would just like to know a few things about our department in the college, like how many sections are there, how many students are there, what is the strength of your faculty, how many doctorates are there in the department. I mean, these are some kind of a generic questions which the students keep asking us. Can you just tell us about this?
Yes, Kranti, sure. Civil Engineering Department now offers UG program, that is BTech Civil Engineering, for 2 sections. Each section consists of 60 students plus lateral entry students, of course, who comes through ECET, 6 students. So put together 66 students per class. So that's regarding our strength. And also we have 3 PG programs the department is offering, one in structural engineering, other in geotechnical engineering, and one more in highway engineering. So with an intake of 18 each. So we run 2 UG programs, 2 UG sections and 3 PG programs. So coming to our faculty, we are 34 right now, the teaching faculty, along with 6 non-teaching staff. And among 34 faculty, I can proudly say we are almost 50% of our faculty are doctorates. So doctorates from premier institutions, IITs and NITs and premier universities. So that is the major strength of our department. So in what way student is going to get benefited out of all these things is definitely with their exposure at higher learning institutions, with their knowledge in research and scope, participating in their research projects and all, definitely student is going to get benefited when compared to other institutes and other departments. So that's the major strength of our department. And also I can say our faculty strengths are unique and they are diversified. So as just now Rohit was telling, like majority of the students and parents might be thinking at the end of the day, what is that? I want to work with robotics, I want to work with IoT and so on. So what is that civil engineering is going to do? If I take civil engineering, either by virtue or by default or whatever by choice, then how can I kill my passion? And by taking civil engineering, you need not worry about that. Sir, request to parents and also information to parents that your wards will be offered with many course projects in the curriculum which are multidisciplinary in nature, clubbed with IoT, machine learning. All our faculty are offering projects in machine learning, even road safety auditing using machine learning, damage detection in structures using IoT. So all such kind of projects are taken in their BTech major projects. So conventional civil engineering has to be there with its strong fundamental knowledge, but you have to become smart in civil engineering by learning all these multidisciplinary courses and the mezzanine technologies or 4G technologies, what we call, so that you can make your work more smart, more reliable infrastructure can be planned and it can be maintained. So that is very important because country needs lot of infrastructure has become old. Everything we cannot go on replacing. It's an expensive process. So we need to monitor the health of the structures continuously. For that, we will be using all these IoTs, sensor-based technologies and all. So those kind of things are offered to the students because all our faculty are exposed to higher learning institution research kind of facilities. Because of that, students also will be exposed to these kind of things. That is the strength what department is having now, and all are capable of offering or doing some consultancies also.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now that you have mentioned the name of project, I would like to know what are the kind of projects that you are associated with? I mean, the department is associated with, especially the research projects and all those things. Can you just tell us briefly about that?
Yes, Kranti. Like department is ongoing projects with the department are from Professor Ramesh, Department of Science and Technology. One project is ongoing with 14.5 lakhs and 4 TechWhip 3 projects from the University JNTUH are ongoing, like 4 projects worth 3 lakhs each. And apart from that, keeping the society in mind, one institute, Awareness Hyderabad, has offered, organization has conducted a research proposal contest in which 2 of our faculty have grabbed 2 research projects related to smart traffic parking and also potential recharge of groundwater in Pragati Nagar area. So students can get excited by such kind of things in your neighborhood, within your city, within your state, within your country. What are the problems, how you can take up that as projects and you can implement them. So funded projects right now, department has completed till now around 1.3 crores projects. Apart from that, department takes up a lot of consultancy services to the government and also to the private sector. Presently, we are working with GHMC third-party quality control consultancy services for comprehensive road project management and also regular road works. Regarding HMWSSP works, UGD works, and so on. So we have completed till now 1.3 crores of consultancy works till today, and it is ongoing project for us. Apart from this, there are many clientele for us for material testing and also design consultancy. And some of our faculty are even involved in road safety auditing for NHAI, National Highway Authority of India Limited, through some third party. So in all such kind of things, students also will be involved in such kind of projects. They'll get lot of exposure. So that much I can assure the parents, if you take civil engineering, what is that we are going to gain for my son or daughter? So they'll have lot of exposure, especially in civil engineering. The bridge, the gap between the industry and academia is very, very small, sir. So whatever we teach is through the projects, through the visits, and everything will be more practical in nature. So that's about the projects and consultancy in our department.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. That was very good to know about how you are involving yourself with lot many activities, especially with the society. Chandramohan sir, I'll just come back
Yes,
with you.
ma'am.
Sir, you all have industry collaborations. I mean, you are executing a lot of projects with government agencies and all these things. So how has it given you? I mean, how has it helped the department basically because of these collaborations, whatever you have? Can you just emphasize on that?
Ma'am, these as Malika ma'am said that, so we have a very wide range of faculty expertise, experienced personnel here. So you can have the faculty who has who has completed the doctorates in structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, water resources, transportation, environmental. So we have a very wide range of faculty. So students who are coming, who would like to join in VNR are very fortunate. I can say that, because you will find very few engineering colleges, very few private engineering colleges in Telangana or in Hyderabad, where this PhDs, the doctorates ratio is nearly 40 to 50%. And many of these faculty in the civil engineering department, so they have worked in industries and then they shifted to the teaching profession. So students can associate with these doctorates spread across various specializations. So and they can pursue their research. They can involve in carrying out the research projects of these faculty. So these PhD doctorates, so they have completed these PhDs from various prestigious IITs and NITs. So I'm proud to say that every faculty, at least one PhD is from NIT. If you take a structural engineering, we have a PhD candidate from IIT Madras. So if you take the geotechnical engineering, we have the faculty from who has done the IIT, who has done the PhD from IIT Bombay and IIT Hyderabad. And if you take the water resources engineering, we have a faculty who has done the PhD from IIT Delhi. And if you take the transportation engineering, so here we have the faculty who has done the PhD from IIT Roorkee. So many of our faculties have completed their doctorates from the prestigious IITs, and of course mostly from NITs and from the prestigious universities. So students can collaborate with all these faculty and can pursue, they can enhance their skills with reference to the academics or with reference to the research and all that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Coming back to this another thing, that is industry collaboration. How has it helped for the department, sir? Industry collaborations, whatever you had. So how did it help the department?
So we have the MOUs with almost 13 companies. So how this is, so we will train the students in such a way that students will be arranging these industrial visits, at least one in every semester. So since the course is spread over 4 years, which means for about 8 semesters, so students will be going to the industries at least 8 times during their course of study. Similarly, the guest lectures. So guest lectures, at least we will arrange 1 or 2 in every semester, both for first, second, third, and final years. So, so that means by the completion of this 4-year study, so they will be having at least 10 plus guest lectures from various eminent persons from the industries. They'll be exposed to the latest technologies. So the industry personnel will be visiting to our the institute to share their knowledge, to the students can participate with reference to the internships, or internships means students will be doing two kinds of internships here. So during the second year of study, they will be doing the summer internship. Since we have the collaborations with almost 13 industries, so we are sending the students for about 45 days to 60 days of summer vacation during their second year as a summer internships. Even for the third year students also, during their summer vacation, we will be sending these students to the industries to know how actually the industry will be they will be learning the teaching the academic part in the regular course, how actually will be implementing, they'll be learning in the industries. So like this, they'll be having the summer internships, they'll be having the industrial visits, they'll be having the guest lectures. So since we have the MOEs, so the chances of getting placements is also more for those students who would like to join in civil engineering branch of VNR Visa IT.
Thank you, sir. Let me just.
I would like to add one point.
Yes.
Sir, I would like to add one point here. As you spoke about internships, just like other software companies, the trend is that many of the people are doing their internships in their final year. So in civil engineering also, we have around 25 to 30 members who are getting paid internships in their final year of the second semester. And later on, those internships were converted into the jobs as well.
Okay. Now that Teja, you have brought in the same thing, I would just like to know who are the recruiters for this, students of this branch in the institute. I mean, who are taking the recruitment companies who are approaching VNR for the students, civil engineering students.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So our students are diversified into the software as well as the core companies. So basically, in the second year of their graduation, we will be asking them the priorities, like in which field are you interested to join? Like you want to go into the higher education, or you want to go into your software kind of jobs, or you want to join any core companies. So we will take options from the students, and based on their options, we will be training the students in their relevant fields. And accordingly, we'll be allowing them to join for the placements. The companies in which our students are generally placed are Ashoka Builders, ACC, NCC, My Home Constructions, Moltech. In design jobs also, our students are placed, like in Design Reps, Moltech, BSCPL. All these are core companies. And coming to software companies, as many of you are aware that our students are eligible for placements, and many of us have joined also in companies like TCS, Deloitte, Capgemini, Hexagon. So we generally feel that this Hexagon is a software company, but it is not really so, because they are into civil engineering software design. So our students are working in the Hexagon company. Though it is a software company, people are doing the civil related jobs in the software company, and also some other companies like UX Reactor, Red Carpet. So all these are software companies in which our students are working. And obviously, the government job is the major sector. Most of our students are joining the government jobs whenever the notification comes. In the recent notification of Telangana state government, in that one single notification, 27 of our students have joined as assistant executive engineers, which is a record, I can say, in the Hyderabad.
Okay, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I mean, very nice to hear that your civil engineers have a lot of opportunities coming their way. Let me just come back to Ramireddy Garu. Sir, so what is your involvement with respect to the college? I mean, VNR VJIT. What is your opinion about this college, and a little bit of feedback on this college?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Mallika ma'am was the first. In fact, whenever I used to start my designs, in fact, Mallika ma'am was my guide. So I in fact started learning this structural designs for the first time from Mallika ma'am. But that was the best thing that I had. And the second thing is the biggest advantage for me is Mallika ma'am previously, as you also had explained, about her experience, she had industrial experience. So that was in fact a biggest advantage for me to utilize her practical experience. That in fact motivated me towards these structural designs. So that is the best advantage. Best thing that I could get from her, Mallika ma'am. The second thing is facilities and everything, like professors, and by then I think Chandramohan sir was also there, but I was not interacting with him. But the only thing, Mallika ma'am and then Ramoyi sir, all the faculty members, I personally I was more encouraged towards my, towards I can say towards my interest especially, and particularly they were more careful towards the students, and also. In 2006 itself, we were having each and every lab facility, and it is not a kind of a relation between the professor and a student. We had, in fact, in 2006 itself, in the 2006 itself, professors were very close in the sense, in the explanation point of view, and they were well qualified, and I had gained so much of knowledge from them, and interaction also was, it is the biggest advantage for me to have a interaction with such kind of a well qualified professors. So that was the advantage for me.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for how you have benefited. Let me just get to Rohit. Rohit, I just want to know from you, since you have come out from VNR Institute, what do you think are the best practices that are done in the institute, and can you describe briefly how is campus life in VNR actually?
So I'm a very proud student of VNR. I always call VNR my first college. Despite I doing my master's in the Indian Institute of Science, I still consider VNR to be my college. I tell people that I'm from VNR before anything else. The best practices is there's no compromise in terms of quality. We have every lab that is needed for a civil engineer. In fact, I remember one story from my BTech days. We went to BITS Pilani, Hyderabad for a competition. We were presenting a paper. My sister was also a part of our college, that is VNR, and she was presenting a paper. She was talking about an experiment. She was talking about how she worked on self-compacting concrete. There are some equipment that is there in VNR that wasn't there in BITS, Hyderabad. So the faculty at BITS were shocked. When my sister was presenting and talking about the experiments that we did on concrete, the faculty there was shocked that we had all that equipment. They wanted to come visit our campus to see how we are using all this equipment. So there's no compromise in terms of quality and exposure. That is for sure. We did a lot of industrial visits. We visited CII building. Then we had a visit to the Suvarna Cements plant for a week or so. That is one of the best time in my life, like the best week of my life, because I got to.
Hello? Yeah, Rohit. Hello? Rohit?
So many things in just one week's time. I was NHAI and rights. That is again some really good experience. And apart from that, there is something. Apart from that, there is something very important.
Rohit, I think your voice is breaking. I'll just get back to you meanwhile. But good that we got to know how you have, still you are remembering the memories of your college and you're able to...
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, hello? Yeah, so Rohit, I think your sharing of your experience, especially at the BITS campus and all those things, I think it really adds a lot of things.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I couldn't.
We lost you in between. Yeah, come. No, I was just telling that still you remember all these things, whatever you've done at your graduation level. clearly
Yeah.
tells that your department has given a lot of imprint on your career, as well as it has given you a very cherished memories for you to share with us right now. So thank you, Rohit, for sharing all those things. Yeah. So let me just quickly come back to Malika ma'am. I mean, the head of the department.
I would like
Sure,
to say
Rohit, go on.
just one more thing.
Rohit? Yeah.
Yeah. So being a civil engineer, in general, people are not exposed to all the branches that are there in the college. For example, I know a lot of people from IIT, BITS and all who actually interact only with students from their particular branch. But at VNR, the community is so closely knit. Some of my best friends are from computer science. Some of them are from electronics. So you actually get exposure to other departments also. Right now, I know that my senior, who is a civil engineer, is working with a computer science engineer from VNR and another electrical and communication engineer to build a startup. I am working with my friends in computer science to do something for myself. So another advantage that VNR gives is that it's a very closely knit community and you can always interact with people from other branches to start something for yourself. You get that kind of exposure in
Yes,
VNR.
yes.
I don't see that anywhere else.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Rohit. Yeah, as you told, we can clearly see the amalgamation of all the branches in a lot of the activities that do happen in VNR. I think that has given the scope of what you call mingling with all the branches, and as you said, it's a close knit community. Whatever you have said is absolutely true. So let me just come back to Malika ma'am, since we are already running what you call we are on a delay. Just quickly, I'll wrap up with a few more questions. So coming to Malika ma'am, so many of the students or the parents would like to know what coming to the academics part, especially. So what is the syllabus that we follow? I mean, since we say that we are autonomous institute, so what is the syllabus that we follow? What is the exam pattern? How is the exam pattern going to be? And how do you ensure that academic performance of students is ensured? So can you just briefly tell us about these things?
As you said, we are granted with autonomy in the year 2012. We have complete academic freedom to frame our own syllabus. So for every 2 years, syllabus will be modified or revised as per the needs of the industry. So that's the purpose of revision, like to keeping industry requirements in mind, what the student industry is expecting from the graduate students. Accordingly, we'll be framing our syllabus. Right now, our syllabus is as per AICTE model curriculum, which has been revised very recently in 19, which is termed as revision 19 R19 syllabus. So students who are going to join in 2020 will be following R19 syllabus. So this is in line with the AICTE model curriculum, which has 4 open electives, more professional electives, and so on. Open electives will enable the student to know about so many things without having any prerequisite knowledge about the other branch subjects. If they want to understand or take up robotics, then they can take up robotics also. So if they want to go for sensor technologies, they can take up sensor technologies offered by electronics department. If they want anything like more advanced kind of things to pursue their projects or research or higher education, if they want to take, they can take open electives also. So for students, I think from the academic section, more briefing will be given to the parents later on. So they'll be having even a BTech's major degree in computer science along with civil engineering. Those some students will be always feeling, parents will also be feeling, or what couldn't get into computer science or IT or electronics, something like that. You need not worry, sir. So you have an opportunity like, so you can have BTech civil engineering with a minor degree in computer science or a minor degree in robotics, which will be useful to you. So when you take up a career option, so you have both roads to take your career path now. So majority of the students will be under the impression, I'm a civil engineering student. If I get a job in the IT sector, so I may not be able to cope up with that one. That is not so. You will not be offered with coding job there. Service-based IT companies will be there. You will be placed in the civil engineering related jobs only. So syllabus is framed so that student can cope up with all such kind of things right from the first year. So it's a well-graded curriculum, a standard curriculum. In framing the curriculum, Board of Studies will be taking the decision, which is the constitution from the industry person, from the alumni, and from the higher learning institution, faculty members, and so on. So it is not framed just by VNR VJIT Civil Engineering Department. So it is framed and approved by Board of Studies, so which is a committee having a very, very higher order constitution. So keeping all the benefits of the students later on, whether they go for higher education, whether they appear for competitive exams, whether they are taking up a job in the industry, either in the core sector and so on, and even keeping IES syllabus, Indian Engineering Services syllabus, all the competitive exams in the mind, the syllabus is, the curriculum is framed. So, and about the exams and evaluation systems, so continuous assessment will be there for the student. It is not simple mid-exams or final exams. Right from the first day onwards, student will be assessed continuously in terms of assignments, worksheets, case studies, course projects, and so on. So it is led to the discretion of the teacher and also the nature of the subject, whether it is a theory course or laboratory course, or it is analytical subjects and so on. The evaluation or assessment of the student will be done in line with institute academic and examination section guidelines and rules. So, the weightage of internal and external exams is 40% weightage will be given to the internal exams assessment and 60% weightage to the external assessment. So continuous evaluation is given, more emphasis for the student. It is not that you write the final exam, end up with that one. More focus is given for the understanding of the subject knowledge for the student. And how it is monitored, how it is ensured means, so there is a strong mentoring system in the institute as well as in the department. We have mentors, department faculty acting as mentors for a set of 10 or 6 students like that. They'll be mentored continuously by that faculty member for 4 years. With respect to his academic performance or well-being, with respect to career options, the faculty will be guiding that particular student as mentee. This is a very strong feature of our VNR VJIT, one of our initiatives. So starting from first year, so they'll be having lot of assessment tests conducted by our training and placement division so that student can analyze themselves. The analysis will be sent to the student in the first year only to identify their strengths and weaknesses. So the training can be offered in that particular path. So right from the first year. And department also takes the priorities of students right from the first year, whether they want to take up a job in future, core job or IT job, or they want to write GATE or GRE, going to their higher education, or they want to become an entrepreneur. All these things we will be taking the priorities and the training will be given accordingly. So if they want to go for an IT job, then training will be anyhow part of the curriculum. C and data structures will be offered to them along with Python and all. Additional kind of things like Java, all those things will be offered as training programs. Apart from that, as my colleague Dr. Chandramohan sir said, they'll be offered training in the core sector, what is relevant and need of the industry, like training them in software like ETABS for analysis and design. StatPro will be there in the curriculum. Curriculum is so strong. So without taking an additional course itself, they are being trained with one drafting package for building drawing, working drawings, as well as architectural drawings, one analysis and design package, one project management package, one GIS and mapping package. And if anybody is interested, we have institute licenses like from MathWorks, MATLAB, all these things, ANSYS, so many are there to learn about. So that's strong our syllabus is, curriculum is. So that's how student is mentored as per their passions. They'll also be clubbed with other branch students to take up the projects, exhibit them in the open house, which happens on an annual basis. So it is like, as Rohit was telling, it's an amalgam of all the branches and the knowledge sharing among the student community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Now that you have mentioned about projects and all these things, Chandramohan sir, I would like to ask you, how do you expose your students, or how do you give an opportunity for the students to with you in the especially advanced labs or projects, or how do you give them that real feel of the industry is whatever you are visiting and all these things, sir?
The students who are willing to join in the civil engineering department of VNR VJIT are very fortunate in the sense that I can proudly say that our labs are very well equipped. So we have the state of the art facilities. So I can say that the facilities that the civil engineering department, the laboratory facilities that we have here, so you don't find in any of the private engineering colleges in Telangana and AP. In fact, some of the equipment that we have here, you don't find even in the universities. So just now we had listened a live example from our alumnus Rohit. So the experiments that they have conducted in VNR labs, when they are presenting a paper at BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus, they were shocked. The Rohit was telling. So such a state-of-art facilities that we have in VNR. For example, you take we have the universal testing machines. We have 20 tons testing machine, and we have 100 tons testing machine in strength of materials laboratory. And we have the loading frame, the exclusively for testing the building components. So you can test the large size beams, you can test even the columns, you can test the slab panels. So we have set up an exclusive advanced concrete laboratory called with by installing a loading frame worth more than 30 lakhs. And we have all NDT equipment, that is non-destructive testing equipment, we have in the concrete laboratory. Similarly, in the geotechnical engineering, we have flexi-wall permeometer, and in the transportation engineering, we have wheel rutting machine. And when you come to the CAD lab, so we have almost 12 softwares, licensed softwares. Just to name a very few softwares, we have for the analysis and design, we have STAAD, we have ANSYS, and we have ETABS, and similarly we have the MATLAB. We have a MATLAB license, we have a campus-wide license, so any VNR VJIT student can use this MATLAB facility. And we have a bundled Bentley package which consists of more than 30 softwares. So all these advanced laboratory physical equipments, along with more than 40 softwares, are available in the Department of Civil Engineering. So it is up to the students of the civil engineers. So to we have the faculty which has expertise in all these handling all these equipments, usage of all these software. So students can take up an excellent projects using these advanced laboratory equipments and using these advanced softwares.
Thank you, sir. So that now you have told me that so many advanced softwares are there. So probably they must be doing a lot of commendable amount of work, which can be appreciated. Coming back to the placement coordinator, Teja, I just want to ask you one question, which many students and parents keep asking me. So are civil students eligible for IT jobs? Teja?
Yes, ma'am. Students are eligible for the software job, ma'am. Many of the students have been already placed in the IT job. I've already set the list. I've already shared the list with you, right?
Okay. Right, sir. So coming back to Ramireddy, sir. What do you what do you think is going to affect the students' performance? I mean, how good should be the academics aspect, especially if they have to excel in their career?
Most of the things have already been explained and available in VNR VJIT, as Mallika ma'am and then Chandramohan sir mentioned it. So like software availabilities and then site visits. So I also would like to add, when Mr. Rohit was explaining about his experience. So when I was also studying, then we also had visited like Kodada cement plant and then NTPC thermal plant and then Survey of India. So these kind of the visits were in fact most helpful and useful for me also, because it is something very different, grasping kind of a content from the classroom, from the gaining the knowledge from the practical aspects, maybe from this visits. So all of those facilities are anyway available in VNR VJT, and a faculty is excellent, undoubtedly. So that is fine, and the facilities like Chandramohan sir has mentioned, the softwares like ETAPS and then StatPro, these two are kind of a most popular and then popular software which are anyway available with this. And when the students are going through this kind of the facilities and this kind of a software training, that would be the we can say that would the maximum extent one can equip themselves before they are moving into this practical, or we can say before they are entering into this market. So that would be the most than sufficient.
Okay.
So yes, ma'am, that is my experience with this.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So Rohit, so I just want to ask you one question. How have the opportunities in VNR helped you in molding your career? I mean, that is one question which I would like to ask now that I know where you stand right now. So how did your college, I mean, how did VNR help you? How did it give you the opportunities for your career growth?
Absolutely. The best thing about VNR is most of us certainly get a job. Like professors were already telling, a lot of people got into AWS. The network of AWS for VNR is so strong that I can find at least one AWS in each district of Telangana. That's how strong it is. In fact, recently I visited a remote place in Adilabad and I already know someone there. So that is how strong the network is. At VNR, I was placed in TCS in my 4th year. I wanted to be placed in Hexagon. I couldn't make it because I wasn't prepared enough, but I made it to TCS. What TCS gave me is that the confidence that I can do something, I can achieve things. I was sure that, okay, if nothing works out for me, I can always fall back to TCS. That is when I started putting in more effort, taking more risks. I tried GRE, I tried CAT, I scored extremely well in both of them. Then I was confidently applying to universities. And in fact, Malika ma'am will obviously know, only to the top 3 universities in the USA. And I was like, I don't want to go to any other university. I want to go only to these 3 universities. That is the confidence that opportunity in hand can give you, right? Once you know that you are safe, you can always fall back onto this. You can always aim for the sky. So VNR obviously gives you that kind of confidence.
Okay. Yeah. Well said, Rohit. So VNR gives you that confidence to stay ahead, and also it molds you that you are ready for the practical environment also. So the last question to Malika ma'am. Ma'am, just a brief thing about how you are preparing your students to be well-rounded personalities, and similarly, any examples of alumni who are holding significant positions?
Yes, Kranti, let me start with our alumni, distinguished alumni, what we can proudly say. We have a great network of our alumnus with us. So many of them are entrepreneurs, many are with the government sector, many are with the private industry, who are in good positions abroad, even in academia. So I can just name some few, like 2000, starting with the recent years, 2015 pass out Harsha. I think 16 pass out Harsha. He is the editor of one of the prestigious environmental journals of USA. So he's about to finish his PhD, submit his PhD degree, but he was, that is the place what he is being awarded with in the university, becoming the editor of one of the prestigious journals. So that's about one of the student, and the live example before us, Rohit Polavarapu. So he has become a data scientist. He's working with Disney. So he's also one of our distinguished alumni. So coming to Shivaram Reddy Garu now with us, who is 2006 pass out way back, and he's also a successful entrepreneur. He worked for some time and then he started his own business. He's a successful business person now. So apart from this, there are many students abroad also, and many students in India in government sector, like Sharath, who is working in a managerial position in railway recruitment, South Central Railways, and also like Pradeep, who is working with CPWD as an executive engineer. Apart from this, many are in the private sector. Abroad also, we have very, very distinguished alumni. Rishi Tirupari, who is working as Director for Sustainable Projects in Science of China, Macau. He is also very generous, like, as you said, well-rounded personalities. So he is a good human being. There is a touch of empathy from the department, what we teach values apart from academics also to our students. He sponsors every year 2 students tuition fee also. So that's the humanity. To some extent, I think department also imparted to Rishi Tirupari. So he is
Yes.
very generous in sponsoring 2 students. And also students have various platforms to exhibit their talents apart from academics. So we have different clubs in VNR VJIT, like many cultural clubs with respect to dance, music, theater, drama, photography, and so on, whatnot, creative arts, and so on. So majority of our students are part of all those clubs. They very scintillatingly participate in all those things. So where they can exhibit their talent, creativity, which is very much required for nowadays engineering challenges to be faced with. So apart from that, we have many fests, technical fests known as Convergence, where students can take part in various competitions from civil engineering department, modeling contests, design contests, surveying contests, and so on. And sometimes we also collaborate with NITs also for design contests and modeling contests, so that student will be exposed to different higher learning institutions' cultures. So apart from that, there is a cultural fest. Majority of the students will be enjoying. And even besides all these things, we have Entrepreneurs Club, Nature's Club, NSS, VNR, SF Student Force. So many will be associated with social projects, social activities. So which we believe in all-round personality of the student grooming is very much required apart from academics. So that's what from the civil engineering department, additional benefit student is going to get is they're all involved in all the consultancy projects. Along with faculty, they'll be going to sites, they'll be seeing what's exactly happening in the field so that they can get developments in their career, plan their career well. So it is not, it's a myth, I feel like a civil engineer, taking civil engineering, you need not feel inferior because the today's trend is only computer science or some other circuit branches. Not at all. Always you should feel, or your son or daughter should feel, being a civil engineering is always proud. Don't compare the pay packages with your contemporary or branches like CSE. Your graph is going to start very gradually over a period of time. Still, your graph will be increasing, but whereas for your counterparts, graph will increase exponentially at certain point of time, it will stagnate. So that is not the case of a civil engineer. After 5 years, you are more preferred by the industry. So only thing is 1 year or 2 years with exposure, you have to struggle a little bit, but good packages are available even for civil engineers. That depends on how we interact with the society, how you project yourself, what you have learned, what you are being taught in the department, that you need to project. For that also, a lot of grooming will be done by, because we have English laboratory labs, lot of communication skills will be imparted to the student. So later on, they can go grab the opportunities. Definitely, I'll say whenever there is an interview in any of the premier employers organization, definitely VNR VJIT civil engineering student is going to perform well. That is the feedback what we get from the employer always. Whenever they are working there also, same kind of feedback we are getting from the employer. VNR VJIT civil engineering student is doing very well. They are very strong in the subject.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for telling you. I mean, very good words about civil engineering. Probably, I think the parents and students will look into this branch as a prospective branch. Okay. One last question to Chandramohan sir. Sir, there is one bit of concern which parents and students have, especially I would say parents' perspective. So, how is discipline in the institute, and how is the basically anyways, we know that we don't have ragging in the institute, but a little about the discipline, how is it maintained in the institute? Because many of the parents are basically concerned how the discipline is maintained in the institute. So just briefly, can you tell us, how it is?
Okay, ma'am. So with respect to the discipline, absolutely the parents need not worry, because there was a strict monitoring of discipline. Suppose if you take the how whether their wards are coming to the college or not, that is whether they are attending the classes or not. So we will monitor their attendance on an hourly basis. Suppose if you have 5 hours or 6 hours in a particular day, if the student was absent for more than 3 hours, that means more than 50% of the classes he was absent. So immediately a message will go to the parents that your ward has attended only 3 classes out of 5 or 3 classes out of 6 on this particular day. So we will monitor their attendance quickly on an hourly basis. And of course, we will display their attendance on a monthly basis in the notice boards, so the students can see what is the percentage of attendance in each subject, and of course the overall attendance percentage they can watch. And when we conduct the mid exams also, so how many marks, what is the percentage of marks in each subject, what is the overall percentage your ward got, will be reached to the parents through their cell phones. So we will send the SMS to the parents. And with reference to the another important parameter, the worrying parameter for the parents is the issue of ragging. So I would just like to say a few words about this ragging. To avoid this ragging, we have a staggered timings for the first years as well as for the seniors. Seniors means second, third, and final years. So suppose right from the point they have started from their home, right from boarding point, boarding the bus. So we have an exclusive buses for the first year students. So in those buses, only first year students are allowed to travel. So for second, third, and final year students, so we have a tie-up with RTC. So you need not worry about your words that senior students will board the buses of the first year and they will rag it. So we have an exclusive buses for the first years. So there is no question of ragging during the transport facility. And similarly during the academic work. So we have a staggered timings for the first years and as well as for the seniors. So if you take the first years, their classwork will start at 9 o'clock and ends at 3 o'clock. And for the seniors, so their classwork will start at 10 o'clock and ends at 4 o'clock. So since their classwork will start at different timings, that is 9 o'clock for the first years and 10 o'clock for the final years, there is no question of mingling the senior class students with the first year students and to do the ragging. So even for the lunch break also, the first year students will have a different lunch breaks. When the first year students are going to the canteen, so only they will be allowed to go to the canteen. In the canteen, in the lunch time of first year, all the senior students will be in the classroom. And similarly, in the all the senior students will be in the lunch time of all the senior students, first year students will be in the classroom. So to the extent possible, we will take all the precautions not to interact, not to mingle the final year students with the first year students. So we'll take all the precautions to avoid these ragging. So I can say that the campus VNR VJIT is absolutely free from the ragging. You can say the ragging free campus. And we have an exclusive anti-ragging squad here. So wherein all the professors from each of the department will be the members in the anti-ragging squad. So they will be monitoring. So they will be roaming all on the entire campus and the entire floor. So we have the floor in charges. So we'll see that the ragging will not happen. And of course, there was a small interaction session we will arrange. It's not a ragging session, just to have an interaction with the seniors. So we will plan a session called matrixing, wherein these first year students will be interacting with the finalists, second, third, and final year students. And so, which helps that what are the projects these seniors will be doing, whether there is any possibility of tying up with the projects. So just to an interaction sessions will be arranged. It is not a ragging session. So the campus is absolutely ragging free campus. So parents who are willing to join their wards in VNR can absolutely don't worry about the ragging issue.
Thank you, sir. That was very, you have given a deep insight about how is the discipline maintained. So before I quickly wrap up this panel discussion, one last question to Teja. Teja, sir, can you just tell us about the highest pay package that your students have got, and a little bit about the placements aspect the parents might be interested in knowing?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. The highest package I can say is 10 lakhs, ma'am. That is in the PSU by Mr. Pranay. He is working in IOCL. Now he has shifted to National Highway Authority of India. Now his current package is around 14 lakhs, ma'am, within a span of 2 years, from 10 lakhs to 14 lakhs.
Yeah, I think so many of the students or parents probably should be aware that there is a lot of scope in the core branches. So I see in the chat there was a question which was asked, like, the future is civil engineering or computer science engineering. Now, this question is a little bit tricky because we are not demoting any other branch. We are just telling that civil branch, which happens to be one of the core branches, has a lot of future scope and a lot of opportunities for the students with respect to career, which are the general apprehensions which the students or the parents generally have. So the intention is only just to tell all the students and parents that there is a lot of scope in civil engineering, and it's a very good branch, a core branch which you all can take up without any hesitation.
Kranti, can I interrupt once?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to answer his question. Definitely civil engineering, because so it's not I am a civil engineer. I could see for the past 1.5 decades students who come to civil engineering with passion. So who are getting an MCET rank of 2000 and JEE main ranks, good JEE mains ranks also, they opt for civil engineering. Because when I asked the students, why did you opt for civil engineering when you have a chance of getting computer science? The answers what they gave me is really, really very, very passionate. Like, because I'm interested in, it is not because their parents are in civil engineering or something else. I want to become a civil engineer right from my childhood because I travel every day. I see lots of buildings. I felt that can I be a part of one such kind of high-rise building? That's the answers what they give. So that's the passion some of our students are having with great ranks in MCET and JEE mains.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to take up challenges in life with their technical knowledge and common sense, as I said, so definitely you have to opt for civil engineering.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, that was what was echoed even by the panel members like Shivaram Reddy sir, where he was saying that if I see a building, I'll be very proud if I have designed something related to that and all. So really very happy to discuss with you all who happen to be the experts in your domain. So I think that this session will definitely help all the students and parents in making a better choice. It will enable them in making the right career choice. And that too, as you said, which matches their passion. So it should definitely be their passion to pursue this kind of engineering. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chandramohan sir. Thank you, Shivaram Reddy sir. Thank you, Teja sir. And thank you, Rohit. Panel discussion. So I think I would be now in a position to clear off a lot of doubts which the student and the parent community have, especially related to this branch. Thanks for readily agreeing to be part of this panel discussion. Thank you very much. So any parents or students, if they have any doubts, I think they can ask the panel members. So somewhere, I think I can see from the chat box that they're asking about the first year timings and all, which were, I think, Sandeep has answered already. So apart from that, if there are no questions from the audience, we'll just close the session. Thank you once again to all the panel members for being part of this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kranti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.